Welcome to the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. My name is Jin Ong and I'm your host. I practice as an osteopath and psychosomatic therapist and am fascinated by the mind-body connection and how your physical body is a manifestation of your emotional state. I help people get unstuck from their chronic pain and live the life they want, grounded in values and driven by purpose. My aim is to create awareness to the underlying emotions behind pain, injury, and disease in the body. Join me to learn more about the story of your body, what different issues may indicate, how to release emotions so that you can prevent problems, as well as inspiring pain story interviews. It's a common issue to feel overwhelmed and anxious. Sometimes it's positive overwhelm of all the possibilities and choices you have in front of you. It can seem like you can't win, complain if you don't have enough, and complain if there's too much. Couple this with indecisiveness, and you're on the road to going nowhere fast. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be a sad story. I've just made it sound really negative. Let's flip it around. If you could start sorting through the mess in your head and throw out what you don't need and start to make decisions on what will help you head in the right direction, how would that feel? Pretty good, right? You'll be able to look back and see the progress you've made. But how do you start taking action? The first step is learning to say no. And I can feel some of you cringe or roll your eyes saying, yeah, I know. Kids are the best at saying no. Remember when they're 2 and they're at that no stage? They love it. It's their favourite word to say. Whatever happened to that though? Have you been taught that saying no isn't a good thing, like being angry or sad? It's just a word. Don't take it personally. In fact, I love it when people say no to me, as long as they're not avoiding the necessary. I'd rather that than wasting time because that person was trying to make time for me that they never had, having them look at their phone constantly while we catch up for tea or lunch. I'm having a little vent here, but are you really going to answer that phone or email while you speak with me? I'd much rather a present catch-up than a distracted one. When people find themselves in the situation of overwhelm, stress, and anxiety, they ask, what can I do? Can you give me something? Do I need to exercise more, meditate, write a journal? These are all great things, but why would I give you more to do when your plate is already full? Instead, I'll tell you, you need to get rid of things in your day and week. Get thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Prioritise your week and your activities. Set realistic expectations on what you can get done in a day or a week. Things like exercising and catching up with people, although it's great, can be a form of procrastination. So how do you know what to say no to? And even better, who do you say no to? I love to help people clear up the mess in their head and their life, to navigate through all their options and choose what aligns with them. But first, they need to know their values. Another big sigh. People think they know their values. Again, they're swimming around in their head. But if I asked you to name your top 5 values, would you know what they are? Values are what help you decide if something serves you or not. It's what helps you live your life feeling aligned with your purpose. You may have heard how core values are important for a business to communicate their identity. But what about your personal identity? and the path you want to pave for yourself. If you find yourself saying yes to things that leave you drained and unmotivated, it's not the thing that's the issue. It's the decision that you've made that isn't in line with your values. Maybe you've gotten so caught up with going with the flow or making yourself busy doing a million tasks that you've forgotten what your actual values are. Or you know how important it is to be clear on your values, but aren't really sure how to go about working them out. It can be challenging. Through the process of working out your values, you might find that some personal and work values are the same, and that's okay. Hopefully the work you do, where you spend most of your day, is something you love doing. People often try to separate the two, but they're intimately related. Being a reformed perfectionist, I worked out what was holding me back from discovering my 5 values. I wanted a set of 5 values that would take me through my whole life. What I realised is that as much as I love to live intentionally, flexibility and adaptability is also important. So I sit down and go through my values every 3 months to check that they still fit in with my life situation and that I still stand by them. If I don't, I go through the process of working out my values, reflect over the past 3 months, and rewrite my values. Like any of the tips that I give, they get easier and quicker to do with practice. The key is to introduce these tips and tools into your life on a regular basis so that you can utilize them in moments of stress. The better we become at something, the quicker we can change our habits and the way we react to situations. So what are core values and how do they serve you? Core values are the things that you stand for, that people may be attracted to you for, and most importantly, what you live your life by. Generally, this is what you base your decisions on, saying yes to things because they align with your values, or being okay saying no because they don't align with your values. So here's some examples of values. Honesty could be one of your values, and finding out one of your friends is lying to you could really drive a wedge between your relationship. First of all, I would pull that friend up for lying. Maybe that's all that's needed. But if it continues, I'd consciously distance myself from that person and let them know why. That's another thing to take note of, is that when you start to change your values, certain people may drop out of your life. And this is something that people can find really challenging. However, trust that you will be able to attract better people who support you on your new path. Another value could be family. So you might like to work for a workplace that allows you to drop your kids off and pick them up, and maybe allow you to have extra time off during school holidays. This is another point. Knowing your values can help you decipher which specific jobs to go for, rather than going for every job out there and hoping one sticks, staying in it for a little while, getting disgruntled with it, and then eventually leaving. So choose a job based on your values. Another situation could be where you felt obligated to catch up with a friend. You were pushed for time but said yes anyway. In the midst of it, you didn't complete that job or task that you were meant to do before you caught up with that friend. You're stressed, running out the door late, and then your friend turns up late. And you're burning inside thinking what you could have done with that extra 20 minutes because they turned up late. And then you've caught up and they decide they have to leave early. And that just creates a lot of frustration, maybe irritation and anger, and a drain of energy. Everyone has different values, and that's another point to remember. You're not here to please everyone or to be liked by everyone. Different values serve different purposes. So why are core values so important? Being clear what your core values are can guide your decisions and prevent overwhelm or uneasy feelings of frustration, irritability, and resentment. Sometimes this can be a slow burn, the irritability and resentment, where you didn't notice that you're not meeting your values in day-to-day life. Then all of a sudden you realize things haven't been quite right for a while. You're not happy, energy is lower, you seem to be attracting bad situation after bad situation, and that something needs to change, but you don't know what needs to change. When you live a life in line with your core values, you'll tend to feel more fulfilled and energized. If you're clear about your core values, you know when your boundaries are being encroached and can either pull back, speak up, or say no. Core values can affect your thoughts, behaviours, actions, and therefore your outcomes. The outcomes you strive for are your own. Some issues that arise when people try and work out their core values is that they try and use a list, or they choose values that they think others want to see in them, or what others see as important, instead of thinking what is really important to themselves. You are unique and have your own set of values that contribute to the lives of others. Take some time out and try and work out what your values are. Grab your mini course in the podcast notes, or if you're keen to go all out and get a bigger picture, you can grab the full Set Your Foundations worksheets. This is a process I use on myself every quarter and overhaul every year to help create more of the life I want. Thanks for learning with me on the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. If you like what you've heard, I would love if you could rate, review, and share with your friends. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is The Art of Listening to Your Body. You can join my free Facebook group where I go live regularly to teach you about different conditions and the deeper underlying emotions at play.